Welcome everyone, this is On Top with Repo Products. Today's video is on what's new in AutoCAD 2022. Our video will consist of a PowerPoint presentation and then jumping into AutoCAD 2022 software and then all of the new features as well as getting onto the web-based functionality. So when we talk about AutoCAD 2022, they've broken it down to kind of three main areas of updates. So the first is the industry-specific tool sets, which majority of you already know. And we talk about those tool sets in regards to the different functions of AutoCAD that are pertinent to a specific discipline. The second is the AutoCAD web and mobile apps so that you can work across the web and through mobile devices and just kind of make your work a little easier and smoother. And then the last is continuing the innovations of working. So for CAD automations, we're talking about the vertical products of AutoCAD. For seamless connections, we're talking about the web and mobile apps. And then for continuous innovation, we're talking about the new internal updates to the software itself. Let's take a look at the CAD automation functions. Here we're talking about those specialized tool sets, for example, mechanical tool sets, architectural tool sets, electrical tool sets, and so on. And that way it just makes it easier for you when you install AutoCAD. The vanilla base package of AutoCAD is installed. And when you go to install some of these other specialized tool sets, it will only install those functions on top of your AutoCAD 2022. It won't be a separate base vanilla AutoCAD installation and then the specialized tool sets on top of it. So it makes it much faster, much easier to install, and also frees up hard drive space, and as well helps you with productivity gains for doing specific types of workflow. And so when we talk about those benefits for the specialized tool sets, we're talking about automated intelligence, automation and scripting functionality, and different things that just makes your life easier, like automatic layer naming convention and things like that. And it just helps you work faster. And as you all know, all of this content is coming from Autodesk, so it is a trusted source of file integrity. When we talk about the mechanical tool sets, we're talking about people telling us that their productivity gains are increasing by about 55% overall. When we talk about the architectural tool sets, we have clients that are saying in general they're increasing their overall productivity by 61%. For the electrical tool set, they're pushing up to 95% productivity gain, which is very impressive. And then MEP tool sets is pushing the 85 percentile in overall productivity gain. So just remember that when you are going to get Autodesk AutoCAD software, don't just think of that we just have AutoCAD. There are a lot of vertical products that are available that work very well and seamlessly with the AutoCAD base vanilla application. So again, just talk to us and we'll help you with making sure you have the right product and that you're purchasing the right product for your type of work that you're doing. Now let's move over to the seamless connections aspect. Here we're talking about the web-based and mobile applications for your software. So as you know, you can always buy AutoCAD software and install it on the physical desktop, whether that is a desktop box computer or a laptop. You also have the ability to go onto the web and go to web.autocad.com and use the HTML web-based AutoCAD functionality. It is not the same as AutoCAD or AutoCAD for Mac or AutoCAD LT. Okay, it is strictly designed for web-based functionality, and you'll see the difference between the two. It's not as robust, but there's some basic functionality in there to help you continue to work across multiple devices. And then lastly, a mobile device, you might have a smartphone, you might have a tablet, so you can go ahead and use those applications in the Android environment and the Apple environment to help you work a little bit easier and better. For the AutoCAD Web App, you're just heading over to web.autocad.com and you'll be able to work with that capability. And heading over to the mobile app aspect of it, if, like I said, you have a tablet or a smartphone, you can install the app and work this way as well. As long as you're logged into your Autodesk account within these apps, you should have the functionality to get out to the web, to your web-based location for your content and work this way. The cloud storage connectivity has been enhanced considerably now, not just in AutoCAD 2022, but also the web-based web.autocad.com, and I'll show you that. You can access the files pretty much from a lot of different providers, okay, and we'll look at that when we get into the application. And in essence, it basically just helps you with working wherever you are and with whatever device that you happen to have on you. Then the last phase of the what's new is the actual updates to some of the content in the software, and so they're marketing it here as a continuous innovation aspects, such as the new trace function. Trace function in AutoCAD, basically kind of like you take a piece of vellum or a piece of bum wad. It's really, really light and thin, and you trace over it and you can place it on top of your drawing, and it just kind of helps you with coming up with an alternative type of markup design, if you will. It's not embedded in the flat layer aspect of where the file content is. Think of it as just like a piece of trace paper that you draw something on top of, and then you can let people know, hey, this is kind of what I'm thinking of doing. And instead of actually making changes to the physical drawings or just doing general markups. You have the ability to share your content quickly and easily, not just to your online storage locations, but also to anybody that you want. So you can share the drawing, you can share the views. We can also now publish and push the CAD DWG file content straight to your Autodesk Docs site as PDF files. You have a new count command function. It opens up a tool palette and it basically shows you, it's looking at all the entities and it's automatically counting all of the entities so you can see what they are and get an accurate count. Let's say, for example, you have a whole bunch of blocks in the file and you want to know what the count is immediately. You can use that command. You have push to Autodesk Docs, like I said earlier, so you can have a drawing that you have open and you can use the function to push that file out to your Autodesk Docs site, to whatever subfolder you want, to whatever project that you want, and it pushes it out as a PDF file. So this kind of saves you for the headache of saying file print to AutoCAD to PDF, make the PDF, then push it up. So it's kind of like a, instead of taking 2 or 3 hops, you only have to take 1 hop. Floating windows now, so you can actually take your CAD files that you have and pull them out and act as floating windows, so you can put them on multiple monitors, and just makes so that you can work easily and a little bit more efficiently with multiple monitors, multiple drawings within one session of AutoCAD. For our presentation today, I'm only running on the laptop. I don't have external monitors connected, just so you know. And then they have updated the installation and made it a little bit more customizable. We won't go into that part of it because I've already installed all of the software. But they did update one thing too when you're doing the installation. Not only is it much faster, but also you don't actually have to have the software completely installed to run the software. So here's a snapshot window of me installing Navisworks Manage 2022, and it gets to a certain point in the installation where it says, oh, you can start using it right away. So you can click start even though it's not completely finished. So AutoCAD does that, AutoCAD Architecture does that, Navisworks does that, and I'm going to assume the rest of the 2022 products will do that as they're coming out. So as of today, when I have been able to work with downloading and installing AutoCAD, AutoCAD Architecture, and Navisworks Manage. So hopefully down the road you'll watch additional videos that I'll create for, say, Revit and other things like that. They have supposedly improved the graphic performance to make it a little faster and easier to navigate and see the content clearer and sharper. Most noticeably is going to be the new Start tab. It has been completely revamped, and it takes a second or two to get used to, but it's actually pretty cool. I have to say it is more organized and more cleaned up. And so moving on to the PowerPoint, obviously if you're running AutoCAD LT, you're going to have a lot of the new features too, but you may not have everything. And that's just the kind of the nature of AutoCAD LT. It's not the full-blown package. So you will get some of the new features. You will get some of the enhancement performances. You still have precision drafting and documentation, and then you still have access to the web and mobile apps as well. Obviously, you want to make sure that your Autodesk software is subscription-based, and obviously you know that it's all based upon each end user and setting up the license to be assigned to those users. You get access to technical support, obviously, and to updates to the software, flexible terms for your account, and then additional administration tools if you need to as well, like usage reporting and things like that. I do have a YouTube video on Autodesk accounts and all the latest and updated features and functionality that I created about a month or so ago. So you can look for that as well. And then, as you know, AutoCAD 2022 AutoCAD has been around for quite some time. And so this just builds upon the improvements to AutoCAD and Autodesk as a parent company, and we, Repo Products, as a reseller. We want to make sure that your money is invested properly in the software and you're getting the best use of the software. And, as everybody expects, more bang for your buck mentality. So, take time to look at the AutoCAD software, look at all the features, enhancements, use what you can to help you push further and do your work smarter and easier. And just know that we are here to help you. So with that, I'm going to get out of the PowerPoint presentation and I'm going to jump over to AutoCAD. So here is AutoCAD 2022, and I have a file open already here. So I'm going to head over to the Start tab, and the Start tab looks like this now. And on the left-hand side, you have navigation to open a file, whether it's local or cloud-based or file server-based. You can start a new file. You can go over to the recent, and it will show you snapshot images of the last files that you were in. And depending on where the file is stored, will dictate what kind of icon image you'll see in the lower right corner. So this one is a cloud-based file, whereas this one is stored on the local computer. You also have Autodesk Docs. So if you click this, it will take you to your Autodesk Docs site. Now, the way this functions is up on the top left, you have the ability to go to a particular hub. So in our case, we have the ability to go to multiple hubs. Our main Repo Products hub, our BIM 360 older hub, a couple trial sites that I have set up, and also another client's hub to get access to their projects for technical support purposes. So for today, I can jump over to Repo Products, and in this particular hub, I have a lot of projects to work with, and I can just click any project. And from there, I can get into the two main root folders for the field or project files. So I can click, for example, project files and get into all the files and folders and subfolders to get to my data. So for example, here, I can refresh and then I can see that data. And if I don't see it there, I can jump and navigate to another location. They have the learning function here, and this will double check to make sure your computer has web access. And unfortunately, ours has been a little intermittent today, so sometimes AutoCAD kind of freaks out. But you can actually get to online learning content here as well. You have your basic navigations for what's new features, online help, other things like that. And then on the right hand side, you have the ability to get to connect, and so you can send feedback to them for how to improve the software. You can hit this little X right here and it will collapse that part. So I'm going to head over to a particular file I already have open. This file that I have open is up on my Autodesk Docs site, and so I'm going to switch as well over to the Chrome interface. And I want to make sure you understand where I'm pulling this data from. So I'm on the new Autodesk Construction Cloud portal. And in this portal, I'm in a specific project in my hub. And in that particular project, I have two main root folders for the field and project files, and have all the folders and subfolders that I have created, so I have access to that data. So for example, I head over to PDF files for markup, head over to CAD files, and I can see all of the CAD files that are in here. Now, if you were to click, for example, a CAD file here, you're actually opening it up within the ACC Viewer.autodesk.com portal to look at the data. Okay, so that is not the same as the web.autocad.com. Okay, if I open up, say, another drawing, say this particular one, this is what the file looks like in this Viewer.autodesk.com portal, and you can mark up and do basic markups, and you can take a look at all of your sheets and views, and take a look at all your viewpoints that you have set up for that particular file. This is not web.autocad.com. To go to web.autocad.com, you actually put it in the address field, web.autocad.com. So I'm going to go web.autocad.com, and it will automatically take you here. It will check to see if you're signed into your account. If it is, you'll get in right away, like it just showed. If it's not, you'll have to log into your Autodesk account. Now, one of the new things that they've introduced to the web.autocad.com site is the ability for you to add additional storage providers. So you can click any one of these icons, and it will take you to the Add Storage Provider window, and it will list all the different portals that you can actually add. And so for me, I did this earlier. I already have access to the AutoCAD and Web and Mobile, and all the files and folders that are in this location. The files and folders that are in this location are from the old A360 server site, just so you know. I have the Autodesk Docs, which is our repo products, which is the new ACC portal, Autodesk Construction Cloud portal. And in here, I can go to connect to a project. Now, this particular Autodesk Docs repo products hub ACC portal that I'm working with, when I go to click connect products, it will connect to my Autodesk Docs, and it will list all the projects that are currently active in my ACC hub. And in this one, I just have that one project called 2021 ACC Collaborate Pro Demo. There are a couple other ones in here that I'm horsing around with so I can just test functionality. But if you have a lot of projects, they'll all list here. And the more check marks that you put into the boxes, the more projects that you will have access to from web.autocad.com. You can also go to, say, Autodesk Docs, which takes me to the older BIM 360 site. Then I can also, again, click Connect Projects, and it will take me to that particular hub, which is not ACC, it is BIM 360. You'll also know, just real quick for those who are unfamiliar, any projects that are, let's go back to Account Admin. Any projects that are ACC-based projects have a globe-looking icon. Any projects that are the older BIM 360 admin projects are going to be the ones that have a big blue B symbol. So if we head over to projects, these are showing the newer platforms here, and we can switch over to a different portal and a different hub. So if I switch over to this one, you can see these are working with different icons that I have set up for the specific projects. At the end of the day, you want to make sure you're not too confused with what particular hub and project you're working with. So make sure you're in the right hub, and make sure you're in the right project to do the work that you're doing in. Now, let's jump back over to web.autocad.com. So again, here, when you're under the Autodesk Docs, you can connect any projects that you want, and you'll have access to those folders and the subfolders and all the data that's in there. You can also go to Autodesk Drive, which goes back to the very, very root old school server location that we had back in the day. You can also connect to other storage providers, like I said earlier. So I connected to Box, and so I have folders in my Box site, and I can go to any folder, any subfolder, and grab any file that I want and open up any file that I want in the web.autocad.com portal. I have Dropbox, I have Google Drive, I have OneDrive, so there's a lot. Okay, so you can access however you want to access that data. Let's go back to the Autodesk Docs. Let's go back to Project Files. Head over to PDF Files for markup. Go to the CAD files. And then I'll look at a 102. Let's look at, I think it's this file. Let's see. I think it's this file. Let's open it up. I have a lot of CAD files in a lot of locations. So because of all of this new functionality and capability that you have, sometimes it gets a little difficult to stay navigated with where you want to go. So if I want to go back to Autodesk Docs, I can use one of these this tree function here to go back to the folder or subfolder that I need, and then just start working with the files. Now I'm going to go back to AutoCAD because the file that I'm working with in AutoCAD is this particular file, and it's stored in my AutoCAD online site location. This particular file is the A102 for MEP. And so what you're looking at here is just an AutoCAD file that was created from a Revit model. One of the reasons I have this particular file open is because I want to show you some of the new features within AutoCAD 2022. And the first feature is, say, trace. So here, if you go to click where it says trace, you can see this particular file has a trace sketch already placed in it. And I did this earlier today, and the sketch trace that I drew was just a platform and some boxes just to kind of denote there's probably some big mechanical equipment we're not taking into consideration for the site. So I drew that as a trace, see? And so you can see it here. And if you click this little green check mark, it'll go away. If we go over to the View tab of the ribbon, there is also Count, and I have that turned on, but I have it hidden and docked on the right hand side, so I'll expand it and then I'll move it out over here so you can see the count function. So as I go to click a particular count, you can see what it's doing. It's highlighting the data and it's showing you the count. So I'm going to go ahead and expand that palette and keep it open. And as I go to click each one, it will count that data and it will show that data and mark it up. The ones that have, by the way, an exclamation point are the ones to let you know that something's going on with the blocks. In other words, maybe one was exploded. So over here, this one was exploded. So it's just a good way for you to automatically get count functionality. As for that trace that we talked about earlier here, this drawing, since I'm in the drawing file within the main AutoCAD 2022 software, it reports the trace that was created by this particular user. The trace functionality is a function that's part of the web-based software. So if I head back to Chrome and I go back to the AutoCAD Web App and I say, let's look at, I think it's that file, let's open up that file. Ceiling roof plan, Revit, MEP. And so there's the file. Down over here on the left hand side, you have some navigation function. There's trace right here. So I'm going to click trace. And when I go and click this particular one that was created by me earlier today, it shows that data. See? So if I want to create a new trace, let's say, for example, I'm going to, maybe I need to do some kind of design change over here. I'll click New Trace. It, quote unquote, puts a very, very thin piece of paper on top of your drawing. And then you can use the tools down here for drawing. Like maybe, for example, I'm going to put some circles here just to maybe denote some equipment on the floor. You know, maybe some special exercise equipment on the floor that needs to go into these areas for movement's sake. And so when I'm done, it basically says you have that trace created by whom, what the name of the trace is, the date, the time, and so on. If I hit the green check mark right here and finish it, the trace will be complete. And now I have two traces. So I'm going to save the file up here. It saves the information. And because I already have the file open in AutoCAD 2022 software on my computer, I don't have to click Open in Desktop. if I didn't have it open, I can click Open in Desktop and it will force AutoCAD 2022 to open up, and it will open up to that particular file. So I'm going to go ahead and close this file, and I'm going to say no to this because I saved it on the web. And then I'm going to open it back up and see if it pulls the latest data, which is the one that's up on the web that has the trace to function. And there it is. It shows up trace number 2. So when I click it, I can see that trace. Okay. So we covered count, we covered trace, we covered the web.autocad.com functionality. We covered the being able to access additional content from all different cloud locations as well. And then another feature that we talked about in the PowerPoint presentation is that you can actually drag different windows out, your views and your files to act like windows. So let me open up more than one file, because if you have only one file open, you're really only looking at one particular view, and you pull that out, and it may work, it may not. So let's go ahead. Right now I have 2 drawings open, and if I left click and hold the binding up here on the tab, the file tab, and left click and pull out, I can pull it out like a window. See? So if I had another monitor to my left or right, I can drag this view over to the other monitor, and then I can work with multiple drawings on multiple monitors in one session of AutoCAD. Now, as we all know, the more files you have open in AutoCAD, the more AutoCAD has to process, which means the harder your machine has to work. So just take that into account. Okay. And then if you want to put it back, you can just left click and hold and drag it, and it will throw it back into the file tab based visual functionality. And then the last thing I wanted to double check and see is that, we have under the Collaborate tab, we've had videos I've placed in the past about sharing drawings and sharing views already and drawing compare. The trace palette is here, so if you click this, the trace palette icon pops it. If you hit this X and close it, that icon doesn't highlight anymore. So it's just a toggling on and off. Okay. The push to Autodesk Docs is the new functionality in AutoCAD 2022. So if you don't have the icon selected and highlighted, you won't see that tool. So I'm going to highlight it, and now I have that tool. And if I want to, I can click Add right here to add a sheet, pick a particular sheet that I wish to include, hit Open. It takes time for it to process here. That's what I've noticed so far. I think part of it has to do with my intermittent connectivity to the web. So another thing I will try to do instead is just open up a particular file within AutoCAD that I want to push up to my Autodesk Docs site as a PDF file. So let's close all of this content. I'll open up this particular file, which I know is on my local hard drive. And then we're going to take this file for the sake of just double checking. I am going to go to the application menu. I'm going to save this as a new file. I'm going to put it in my temp folder just for the sake of having it in there. I'm going to call it test ABC and save. Now that that file is there, as you can see, the push to Autodesk Docs palette is open, and it shows that that layout is visible. So if I click Upload Sheets right here, it's going to ask what project you wish to put it in. And so there's a drop-down list here. And you have to be careful because this drop-down list is going to list all of the projects that you have access to. It doesn't break it down into different hubs and different hubs from different companies and different projects, whether they're ACC projects or they are BIM 360 projects. It's just going to give you a master list of all the projects you have access to. So here I'm going to go ahead and make sure that I'm picking the one that I want, which is the 2021 ACC Collaborate Pro demo. And then from there, it's going to show me all the folders that are available. So I'm going to go over and put it under PDF files for markup number 14. I'll hit OK. And then it's going to push it up. When it's finished, it'll give you a green check mark, and you can click Open Browser to view uploaded documents in Autodesk Docs. And here's that little window that tells you that it finished doing it. Okay, so then I'm going to click this little piece of text. It's going to open up my Docs root location on my acc.autodesk.com site. It will take me to that project 2021 ACC Collaborate Pro demo. It will take me to project files, to that folder, and it will show you that file. So if I were to click the test ABC layout.pdf file, it will open up this file in the viewer. And so I can mark this up. So in other words, within AutoCAD 2022, using this push to Autodesk Docs functionality negates you from having the fact of going to say file printer plot, pick AutoCAD for PDF, specify everything, hit OK, it makes the PDF file, it puts it wherever you tell it, then you have to take that file and upload it however you want to the Docs site, which is usually drag and drop. Or from the site here, if you're already here, then you would say upload files. And then you would say from your computer. So you see, as you can see, doing it one way or the other, the old traditional way of CAD to PDF, PDF push up to the site, or grab from the site and pull up, that's still a little cumbersome. Whereas using this new feature in AutoCAD 2022 with the push to Autodesk Docs, it does streamline that functionality. And I can see how it's being used a lot by clients, because they just, you have a CAD file, you do all this work, you want to make a PDF file immediately and share it right away immediately. Put it up on the online account and let whoever has access to that online account on that particular project can see the data right away. All right, now let me double check. I want to make sure I cover all of the PowerPoint presentation, what's new features, make sure I didn't forget anything before I finish my video for you today. Tracing, sharing. So the sharing is pretty straightforward. Like I said, you just click share drawing, and I think I've done a video for that already in the past, so that's why I'm not worried about that. The count, the push to Autodesk Docs, floating windows, the enhancements and graphic design layout, and yeah, so it looks like I covered all of the what's new features in AutoCAD 2022. If I missed anything, I apologize, but there's always, when it comes to new stuff, we always have to dig and push and see. I would say honestly that the new stuff that we have to play with in AutoCAD 2022, what you're going to have to get used to is this new start page and being able to know where to go to get access to your content, because you have a lot of capability now. And for those who use the web.autocad.com portal and to look at data this way, you have a lot more functionality now of where you want to put your files and how you want to get to those files. All right. Well, hopefully this has been a fun and good video for you. As always, if you can reach out to me at any point in time for any questions or any additional data, and I'll be more than willing to help you out. Thank you very much for watching.